Good evening, our beloved viewers. It's 9 p.m. You are watching on live RTD channel. Welcome to this special edition of the National Election Campaign News. The presidential election schedule on Friday, the independent candidate Zakaria Ismail Farah had an appointment in the Mirjuk and Humbuli to meet his militant. Let's watch the main elements of the independent candidate's meeting, Zakaria Ismail Farah. Let's watch.
Candidate Zakaria Ismail Farah was due to meet his supporters in Tamarjok on Friday 6 days before the presidential election. Again, it should be noted that his meeting did not take place as our RTD team in charge of the social media coverage of his meetings found out. The only meetings organized by the independent candidate at the very beginning of the electoral campaign. Arta hosted the first meeting of the independent candidate Zakaria Ismail Farah on March 26, 2021, who took the initiative to run for the presidential elections. The only candidate running as an independent in the 9th April presidential elections. It was with this election that the public in general and that of Arta in particular discovered him. This did not prevent the crowd from showing enthusiasm for the first day of the election, which they consider to be a symbolic and even historic. The independent candidate Mr. Zakaria took the floor at the podium to present his program and especially emphasized the mission that animates him, an action that he wishes to undertake for a more promising social momentum. He mentioned several points such as the reasons why he decided to run, his campaign program, and the political situation in the country. An intervention marked by applause and calls from some chanting Zakaria for president. Zakaria, who has put the valorization of the citizen at the heart of his campaign program, in his own words, the majority of citizens are neglected and live from day to day, which is essentially what his campaign is all about. These messages were also repeated during the meeting in Humbuli, the district where he was born and where he took the first steps as a schoolboy. It is in his natural environment that he went to ask for support. Some people present on the side, especially the older ones, recognized this child of the neighborhood to whom they assured of all their support toward the electoral process. Traditional dances and songs were played and the crowd rocked to the rhythm of the songs that the independent candidate shared, an exception for Zakaria, who had the chance to grow up with all the communities that make up this area. The candidate Zakaria declared himself proud and honored for such a mobilization in support. Verdict on 9th.
Indeed, the candidate of the Union for the presidential majority and the outgoing president, His Excellency Ismail Omar Gili, continues his thematic meeting. After the teacher, it was the turn of the woman in the country. Today, the candidate of UMP received them in the large hall at Haramuz, a strong mobilization that brought together women of all categories, ranking from women micro entrepreneurs, women executive, and women activists and active in the community. The speaker thanks the candidate for what he has done for women, either the implementation of efficient policies for women's empowerment and equal rights. Candidate IG was moved and very humbled by the welcome he received after at the end of a series of exchange on several themes, including microcredit, community activists, women, and other on the agenda of this day. In turns, the candidate of RG was especially keen to listen to the woman's grievance. This meeting between candidate of the outgoing president Ismail Omar Gili and the women who support his candidacy took place in a cordial atmosphere. Finally, the women assure candidate His Excellency Ismail Omar Gili of their support for the upcoming election. Through these various meeting, candidate and the outgoing president prove once again that he remains a leader at the service of all. This day was therefore a success for the leader. And now the UMP candidate, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, in his opening words, told the audience that he has initiated a policy that aims to launch in place in an inclusive and particularly an approach institutional mechanism as well as a strategy for the socio-economic promotion of women in order to make women a vector of growth. Let's listen to the head of the state.
L'État contribue à déployer tous ses efforts pour la dynamisation du rôle de la femme.
As everyone knows, the state contributes to deploy all its efforts for the dynamization of the role of the woman in the edification of an always better Djibouti, which gives its right place and its full value to each of our fellow citizens. Our concern is now to complete the building project based on sustainable development in which women's rights are among the constant foundation. Said again today, there is no better pillar of stability for a nation than that educated and strong woman. On her rests prosperity, leadership, but also values throughout our entire society.
Stabilité pour une nation que celui d'une femme éduquée et forte de ses.
Continuing with the thematic day, the UMP candidate and the outgoing president, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, despite his busy schedule, we received today at his residence in Haramuz the young winners of the national robotics competition organized by the Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurships from April 2 to 4 at the gymnasium of State High Schools of Djibouti. The national robotics competition in a competition dedicated to the students in Djibouti with the aim of inspiring them while promoting education in the modern technology system. The winning team will have to participate in the Pan-African competition and will represent Djibouti at the continental level. During the audience with the UMP candidate Ismail Omar Guelleh, the young winners of the national robotic competition all thank the candidate, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, for his support and his willingness to develop robotics in Djibouti by reserving these young people. The candidates wanted to encourage them to move forward. The UMP candidate wished them good luck to the winning team that will participate in Pan-African competition. At the end of the ceremony, the UMP candidate and the outgoing president, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, reward the winners of this national robotic competition with the medals and cups. The candidates IED present the trophies to the youth. Once the different testimonies were over, the candidate and the outgoing president was proud of these young people who have turned toward innovation in the field of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. He then proceeded to the handover of trophies to the different team, with the first place going to the smart eyeglass, then the team of the second place to the smart greenhouse team, and finally the third place to the energy optimization team. It should be recalled that their different groups were formed, and in each group different team competed for the first place. The marker or procedure composed of young people fresh out of the university, and the layer of as well as alumni of the university. The coordination of the UMP coalition of Dikhil region met with the women of the city of Dikhil who are supporters of the UMP in the headquarters of the white men of Dikhil. They expressed themselves and transmit the message of the leader of the UMP, and after a debate was open between the coordination and the women of the 15 headquarters of Dikhil region. The exchanges were fruitful because the women evoked their daily preoccupation and coordination. They expressed themselves well and noted their doleance. The coordination of the UMP coalition of Dikhil met with the wise men of the city of Dikhil in their own local to collect and ensure the renewal of their confidence and unwavering support to the favorite candidate of UMP. And secondly, they began an interactive discussion in the large room. And now in Ali Sabih, I'm meeting with the woman of Ali Sabih, the campaign director of Ali Sabih region, and his dynamic campaign team had a meeting with the Women's Association of the civil of the chief town and the surrounding localities. As they arrived, they were welcomed with a great permanent circumstance. The representative of Women's Association present and took turns to speak and to remind their unfailing support to the people's candidate and favorite outgoing president, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. The proximity meeting still continue, and now in Arta, the town of Wa'a and the locality of Umar Jaga opted for the UMP candidate Al-Hajj Ismail Omar Guelleh. The region of Arta is behind the UMP candidate. As a result, Umar Jaga was dressed in a green yesterday, Monday, 5 April, to welcome the Arta campaign leadership. The people of the corridor of the region participated massively in the rally and meeting of the town of Wa'a in the village of Umar Jaga to show once again their attachment to their ideal president, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. The Arta campaign coordination team, in the presence of the Minister of the region, Yunis Ali Gedi, was welcomed by a crowd in the form of a head the honor. The backbone of this campaign management and in the synergy with his deputy Honorable Aisha Mohammed embodies this IGist generation of Arta region. Arta are always with the outgoing president, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. To Obah region, the north of the country, the coordinator of the campaign, Mr. Qasim Haroun, organized a proximity meeting in Orobor and Medeho at Mabla mountain, followed by a thematic meeting with the youth and people with special need of Obah region. The delegation was welcomed by a large crowd and received with honor and palm in the two localities localities where the UMP candidate, His Excellency Ismail Margili, was elected, the population expressed their firm will vote massively for their champion, the guarantor of the future and development of Djibouti. The meeting were followed by a thematic meeting with the youth and the people with the special need of Obakh region.
تويلا ليا لا لي عسيلا لهيا عسيلا لهيا أنا سادي سيكونون كافي غير كوع كل عسيلا لهيا عسيلا لهيا وفي أي سما يما نبلك كنو هيتو حتى ناقتي عسيلا لهيا عسيلا لهيا عسيلا لهيا مرعنا كيرو
Indeed, during the proximity meeting of Obakh locality, the principal locales of which the wise Moyale, Mola and Saleh affirmed their firm support. They will vote for their favorite candidate, IUG, for the election of the next April, the coming outgoing presidential.
Hebelton mandak aldi makyo.
And to finish this edition with Tajora region, the UMP campaign coordination in Tajora, led by Mohammed Barkhat, has successfully organized a local meeting in Adailu in the sector of Weima, followed by Rwanda in the presence of the President of the Assembly and the Ambassador of Djibouti in Japan, Ahmed Areitali. The atmosphere was palpable and the population of Adailu and Rwanda were unanimous to vote massively for the UMP candidate, His Excellency Ismail Margili, following together below the images of the strong mobilization in both Adailu and Rwanda. This is it for this special edition of the National Election Campaign News. Thanks for being with us and have a good evening.